There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald, and we will be joined shortly by Brachelle, I'm hoping, provided technology holds up. But in the meantime, we've got a great guest for you today. She is an author. She's got a collection of short stories, and her genre, I'm going to ask her what her genre is. We're talking with Tyler Marie Jenkins, and I hope her family is paying attention and listening. And it's great to have you here, Tyler. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to have this opportunity and to speak with you and talk about my work.
Well, I'd love to talk about your work because you just got home from your day job. And so your writing is not your day job yet, but it will be based upon the reviews that I've seen of your work. So tell me, and by the way, you're the mother of, well, more than 5, but 5 live with you currently. And like I said before the show even began, I'm surprised it's so quiet where you are, but congratulations on that. And so tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I just turned 33. I work full time. I work in human services. I graduated from Herkimer College with a associate's degree in business administration, which is funny, given that I work in human services and I write on the side. And it was actually a class that I took in college that kind of inspired me to pursue writing.
What was the class?
It was creative writing.
Ah, very good. And did you discover when you were doing that class that you actually had a skill for writing?
Yes, I received much praise from many of my classmates, and I am still good friends with my professor to this day. Hi, Professor Devitt. I know you're probably watching.
Oh, that's awesome. And by the way, if you're listening or watching, you can put in a chat in the comments and we can bring it up so that Tyler can talk to you. And if your kids are listening, and which some of them may be. And so that is just great. So let's talk about your book, which the title of your book is Empty Hours, a short story collection. And tell us about the motivation for writing that and the genre that it is.
So it's a kind of a cross genre between horror and thriller. There's a bit of paranormal and supernatural elements to it. I've always loved those sort of stories growing up. I grew up reading the chain letter books. I was a big fan of those when I was younger. And I've always wanted to create stories that would kind of keep a reader on the edge of their seat and would make them, want to keep turning the page because they want to know what happens next. But I am also someone who likes to create stories that make people feel. I know when I read some of my favorite works, there's this overwhelming feeling of a connection with the certain characters, whether it is that you relate to them or you care about them, or maybe you just really like that character, but there's almost a kinship that comes with it. And I've always wanted to create a story where my reader would feel that with one of my characters.
Well, that's really cool because that is the essence of writing, is to make people feel that they're there and to really enjoy it. By the way, Cap Cut Lover 4245 says hi. Do you know who that is?
That would be Gigi. Hi.
Well, hi, Gigi. And so Well, that's really cool. And let me do something real quick. I've got to do that, and then very good. And so, Michelle, hopefully, is going to get here. But so, what decided you to write this particular type of book? Is it because of, like, as an example, Stephen King? He has written a ton of stuff, but he's also written novelettes and stuff, just things that just pop into his head. Is that how it works for you?
Somewhat. I feel a bit like George R. R. Martin asking Stephen King how he writes so many books so fast. Um, because I tend to get a lot of really great ideas all at once, and I love the ideas. What I struggle with is putting them into action. So writing takes me a while. I'm not a fast writer by any means, and I tend to overthink what I'm writing. I second guess what I'm writing, so I rewrite it until I hate it. Um,
Yeah.
and we always hate our own work for the most part. There's one story in Empty Hours in particular that I absolutely love. That is The Candle Stay Lit. I believe it's the second or third story. I'm going to cheat and pull out my table of contents.
Very good. And while you're doing that, CapCut says, I also write, and Lysander says hi.
Hi. So yeah, my stepdaughter, she does write as well, and she's growing into a very solid writer as well.
Oh, very good. Do you think it's something that your family was gifted with, or is, because writing is a unique talent, to be able to kind of put into a concept of what you'd like to do, and then to actually get it down on paper, and then make it look and seem legit. I can't even do it. I'm sorry, I can't.
I think it's a bit of both. You can be born with like the natural talent to create worlds and create characters and weave stories, but I do think writing in the traditional sense or as a practice is a skill that takes time to develop, just like with anything. There's some things I've written that I absolutely hated. Some things I've written that I put barely any effort into because maybe it was an assignment and I just wanted to get it done and over with. Um, or like there'll be something that it becomes very hard to write something that you don't care about.
Oh, that's really true.
Mm.
That because it's. Do you feel like you leave part of your soul on the page when you're writing the book?
Oh, absolutely. So like my favorite story, The Candle Stay Lit, which is the second one I checked. There, that it's sort of a paranormal story. It involves a nun that strikes a deal with a demon. So it kind of takes these themes of faith plus found family and familial love and all of these different elements from different things that I've watched or read or come to love in stories and the venture of storytelling and kind of woven them together into an experience that it has been told before in different formats, but this particular story is new. And I like that theme that there is light in the darkness, that even our perceived dark characters, such as the demon in this case, can have light in them. And not everything is black and white. There is gray. There is good and evil in any creature and any person. And I like exploring those themes and getting people to think about things that maybe they wouldn't have thought about before.
That's really cool. Now it's interesting because you're right. We all have got two sides to us. We've got light and we've got some dark stuff and all that kind of stuff. How do you keep as an example, how do you keep yourself from getting into the dark place and staying in the light place?
It's a challenge at times. There can be times where you're writing a character and you maybe lean too heavy into those feelings, and your natural progression is to want to take them to the end and take them to the full scope. You want to go as far as you can into that feeling, but then you have to kind of step back and reread the sections and be like, is this the natural progression? Is this what this character would actually do? What this person that I have created would do based on who they are? Or am I just projecting my bias of what I think a person like this would be?
So I got to ask you now, the characters that you write, what is your process? Is it, because I've talked to authors and they have all different kinds of processes. Some of them will do an outline and they will do a three-dimensional character and they'll do a backstory of where they came from and some of the things that they went through to get to where they are today. Is that your process or do you do it differently than that?
I'm very much a pantser. I write by the seat of my pants, and
I
so
love that.
yeah, I wouldn't say I let the characters come to me, but I kind of get a rough idea of what I want the character to be when I'm making the story that I want to make, and I give them kind of a mental background a bit. I really don't go too far into it because I have tried, and personally, I find it that I end up going overboard and creating such an elaborate backstory that by the time I'm done, I've lost all steam to actually write the story with them in it.
So you get tired of the character and then you don't even want to write the story anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and so you've got this book out. It came out in September.
Mhm.
How is it doing? And have you heard? And I know you've got a couple of really good reviews on it. And have you heard more about it, or what is your consensus? And what was the process? Did this go through a publisher? Was it self-published? How did this happen?
So I self-published through Amazon KDP.
Uh huh.
Um, I haven't had a ton of sales. I think I've sold about 20. So not as well as I would want to do, but I've also been pretty lazy with the marketing. That's the thing with self-publishing is you have to do all the marketing. Nobody's going to do it for you. Um,
Well, did you also
yeah.
have to do the editing?
Oh yes. So if there's
And
any typos, that's entirely my fault.
well, and because there's a whole process that when you go through a publisher and they have an editor and then you have an illustrator and then you have that whole thing, and you're right, it's quite a process. Now, what was your motivation? Is it because you would really like to transition to be a writer over time?
I definitely would love to do that. A great goal would be to be able to stay home and write 24 hours a day. I would have more time with my family. I would have time to pursue my writing, maybe do a little more reading than I'm able to do. I do think I would probably get bored with it. With my current day job, I'm helping people with disabilities, so that is very fulfilling. I work in an independent living center, and so there would be an aspect that misses that and misses going out and being able to do that kind of stuff. Um, so I'm very much a wandering soul. Like I've got that wanderlust where I'm never quite satisfied with whatever I'm doing right at that moment.
Well, but that's gonna change and grow with time, because as you get out more and you explore more things, and you'll decide, yeah, I like doing that, and I'm not so happy with that, and stuff. But thank you for being of service to the people that you work with in your day job.
Well, thank you.
Now, was that a motivation for you from a long time ago that you wanted to be of service in that way to disabled folks?
Not specifically to disabled folks. That kind of came as a surprise to me. I did start my career in healthcare as a certified nursing assistant in long-term care. So I worked on dementia units, taking care of people with severe cognitive issues, and I loved that for a long time. And I actually went to nursing school. I was going to pursue my nursing degree, but there is a saying. It says nurses eat their young, and it's absolutely true.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that. Could you elaborate?
So there is a certain level of politics that comes into healthcare, and
Yeah.
there seems to be this sort of dog eat dog mentality when it comes to nursing for no particular reason either, because no one, unless you go and you get a higher education, you're not going to be progressing or getting any sort of promotion in that. So it doesn't make sense to me to dog on the other people that you're working with when you're already understaffed. But it is the culture, and it's very unfortunate.
And it is, but I tell you, some of the coolest people I've ever met are nurses and nursing
Oh,
assistants, and because you're all about service, and sometimes you guys get abused because of the number of hours you have to work and the number of things you have to do that makes it a little bit more difficult for you.
yeah. I still have many friends that I worked with back then. Some of them are nurses, some of them are still aides. And I worked up until the first few months of the pandemic. And that's when I left. I left nursing and I started working in logistics, which was a big jump. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I was working in a warehouse and I worked there for just under 5 years.
Oh wow. So tell me what it was like, because the pandemic, yeah, was really hard on the healthcare system. What was it like when the pandemic started and you guys started to hear that this was going to be a bigger deal than maybe some folks had said it was going to be?
There was definitely a level of fear, but it was mostly confusion and uncertainty at the beginning. The nursing home that I was working in was actually the first one in central New York to receive COVID patients from the city.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so we had the first COVID positive residents in the area at the time, and we had to set up an entire different unit. We had to update our protocols for dressing or donning and doffing our PPE, and there was PPE shortages. We had mask shortages, glove shortages. We didn't have the proper materials to be able to protect ourselves or the rest of the residents, and things got very scary. We felt like we were out of control of what was going on. We felt like anytime we went from one resident to another, we were putting their life at risk.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Well,
nobody wanted
nobody
that.
wants to. No, you don't want that, and so many people ended up on respirators and stuff. But and by the way, Tyler, we need to take our first break, and when we come back, I want to talk about more about your book and the stories that you've written, because Stephen King wrote a short story. It was called The Body, and Rob Reiner, the director, and he got a hold of it, and he made it in the movie Stand By Me. I want to ask you, would you like to have your book made into a movie? We'll be right back. Stay with us, everybody. You're listening to Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, and listen to this. This is important. Here's another point to ponder from Positive Talk Radio. What is the easiest thing to justify? It is a small transgression, the one no one will ever see, no one will ever know. The tiny exaggeration on the expense report, the extra minute you took on your lunch break, the packaging you tossed in the wrong recycle bin because it was closer. In those moments, the question isn't, will I get caught? The question is, will I know? It isn't about avoiding punishment. It's a silent agreement you make with yourself when you choose to do the right thing, to return the wallet, to fix the mistake, to respect the empty space. You aren't impressing the world. You're earning your own respect. That small choice, made entirely in private, is how you build a life you never have to look away from. The only audience that matters is you. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin McDonald, and apparently Brachelle's got connectivity issues and will not be here today unless she is. That's as far as I can go. And Tyler Jenkins is with us. Tyler Marie Jenkins. She's a budding author, and she's got a short collection of short stories out. It's called Empty Hours. It had 5-star reviews on Amazon, so you can pick it up there or anywhere that you can get books and stuff. Tyler, would you love to see one of your short stories become a movie?
Well, that's the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every author would love to see their work adapted to screen. And see, it becomes difficult with horror and thriller genres, or it can be at least, when you're dealing in things that are paranormal or things that are supernatural, because there can be a bit of a disconnect if it's not done right. And there'll be some super fans that are really dedicated to your work, that love your characters, love your story, that would like to see it very much adapted faithfully on the screen. Recently, I watched the new version of Frankenstein with Jacob Elordi and Mia Goth, and loving Mary Shelley's work, seeing that on screen, I would think if I would want my work adapted to screen, that is how I would want it done, because Guillermo del Toro did a fantastic job honoring Mary Shelley's work.
And that is one of the problems with when you have a book like or a short story out, and then you have a screenwriter who gets a hold of it. I wanted to ask you: have you thought about doing your own screenplay?
Yeah, and this is my first experience writing anything sort of long form. I did decide to start with a short story collection, figuring that'd be a good way to dip my toe in the water before committing to something long.
Yes, and have you thought about something long, something happy, something dark, something good, or have you got a second book in the works?
I do. Well, actually, I have two in the works. One is a little farther along than the other, but I've kind of shelved that one for a moment to give it a break and give it some breathing room before I go back to it. But that one is also a thriller, and that is, um, oh God, what did I name that one? It's a working title. Until
Sure.
she breaks. Until she breaks. I called that one, and that is actually there is a sample of that at the end of Empty Hours, a sample of one of my chapters. I have about 30,000 words written into that one so far.
That's pretty good.
Mhm. So that's definitely a long way through. So it is a daunting task to finish it, as well as once I finish it, I have to go through and I have to reread it about 18,000 times to re-edit it.
Well, have you thought about presenting the next one, the long form, and sending it to some publishers and stuff to see if they want to pick it up?
I have. I think I chose Amazon for my first one in a lot of ways out of fear, also financial constraints. I I'm not rich by any means, so I did the writing, the editing, the cover design all myself rather than hiring people, simply because I wouldn't want to try to underpay someone to do that work when I know how much work it is.
Well, that's pretty. You're pretty talented to be able to do all of that. Do you get that?
Yeah, I had to ask for a lot of help from my good friend Mary. She is also a published indie author. Her name is Mary Leidick. She's a good friend of mine, and she is a seasoned KDP author, so I've had to lean on her advice quite a lot.
Good. KDP is what does that stand for?
That is Kindle Direct Publishing.
Ah, got it. Got it. Okay. And so you've got a couple of books on the way, and you've also. I have you thought about, since you have 5 children at home? Have you thought about children's books at all?
I have. I did write one. It's called Because I Love You, but and that I did publish only in ebook format. However, I did unshelf that. Um, I think because it was important and I did dedicate it to my children, but I think that's something I decided to keep just with us rather than send it out. And I'm really a lot more comfortable in the dark spaces. I've always been a dark and spooky and moody kind of person, so that's kind of where my home is, where I feel most comfortable.
What was your favorite movie of that genre or type from your childhood or what you remember? Is there one particular that stands out, or are there many?
Mm. So this one, it is a Stephen King, but it was actually a screenplay before it became written, which is kind of backwards from his usual work, and that's Rose Red.
I'm unfamiliar with that. Is that did that get made into a movie?
Yeah, it was a TV miniseries like it.
Oh, okay.
So it has like 3 chapters to it, and it's about, I think it's about 4 hours long. Or no, it might be 8. It's very long, and it has Kimberly J. Brown as the main character,
Oh,
and
okay.
she plays a slightly nonverbal autistic girl who has the shine, just like a lot of Stephen King's characters have the shine, and her powers manifest a lot like Carrie White's do.
Oh, so now when you say the shine, what do you? I'm unfamiliar with that term. What does that mean exactly?
So it refers to the powers that the characters in the Stephen King universe have, such as Dan Torrance in The Shining and Doctor Sleep. He has the shine. So does Dick Halloran. Um, so does John Coffey.
Here's here's Johnny.
Yep. John Coffey in The Green Mile has the shine. Um,
Oh,
they
yes.
Yeah, they believe that there's fan theories that the Losers Club in it all shine to a level, but I don't believe that's been confirmed.
I tell you, The Green Mile, I'd forgotten that Stephen King had written that. That was with Tom Hanks and Michael, and I forget his last name, and all of the characters. That was a wonderful movie, and so it must have been a
Oh yeah,
wonderful book too. I didn't read the book.
I didn't read it either. I can't remember if that was a book or if that was a novella.
Yeah, I'm
I
not.
I want to
I
say it
don't
was a
know.
novella.
And but writing the short. How many short stories are in your book?
There are. I'm going to cheat again. I should know this.
Well, the more interviews you do, trust me, you will know everything about, and you'll know every question that's ever going to be asked of you.
Yeah. There are 6. I keep thinking 8 because there were 2 that I was going to put in and then I cut them. So there are
Ah.
only 6.
Now, I don't know how this works. When you develop short stories like that, and do you show them individually to people and to get their ideas and what they think of them, and then put the best ones together in the book format?
In a way, so there's a culture amongst indie authors where a lot of us will put together Google Docs and send them to each other, or we will enlist beta readers, so people to read a first copy, either a first or second or third draft of our work. Usually, it's a second or third for beta readers. If it's a first, it's typically alpha readers. Um, and what they do is they proofread, they give you feedback on storylines, structure, pacing, that sort of thing, so that you can then go in and make edits.
That is a huge thing when you think of it. As a layperson sitting here, and I'm thinking, somebody wrote a book, but you're talking about pacing, and you're talking about making sure that the story actually makes sense from beginning to end, that the characters are consistent with they start in a way and end in a way that is both consistent and stuff. That takes a lot of time and effort, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. And that actually, for the book that I'm working on, the 30,000 word one, it reminds me of something funny I did. Um,
Yes.
so in the I think, first 3 or 4 chapters of that, there is a main character who I gave 2 children to in those scenes. And about 20 chapters later, I realized that I had completely forgotten those children existed.
And so they were there and then they were gone. And that's pretty magical.
They were
So
there for one page, and then it's like poof.
did you have to go back and rewrite that or and to eliminate them altogether?
Yeah, I was like, I could have, rewritten throughout, and then I would have to weave them into the story I've already created for 30,000 words. I figured it was easier to just cut them out.
Yeah, yeah, and trust me, it didn't hurt at all. Then because they were, characters. Anyway, by the way, we're talking with Tyler Marie Jenkins, and she's written the book Empty Hours, and it's a collection of short stories. And speaking of short stories. Speaking of short stories, Rochelle is here, and we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more with Tyler, and I think Rochelle, you get to meet Rochelle. That'll be kind of fun, and we'll be right back. Yep, me either. Never mind. We'll be right back, and stay with us, everybody.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back to Positive Talk. And, sometimes, Tyler, in your life, and I know that you're younger, but you're going to find this, it happens from time to time, that people will come into your life, and then they'll leave, and then they'll show up again. And it's just magical. Hey, Rochelle, how you doing?
I'm doing okay now. The internet went down, and I thought it was going to take maybe 5 minutes to reboot, but I was wrong. So I sat patiently and waited till the moment my video came on and joined into the show. I've got Tyler's book pulled up. I've been reading things about it and trying to engage in the conversation from a distance, but it's truly an honor to have you here, Tyler, and learn about what you've learned and how it's helped you just impact your own life to change people around you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very nice to meet both of you, and I'm super excited. It has been a journey going from, I've always written when I was younger, but I never thought that it would be something that I would do regularly or that I could pursue. There's always that little sliver of doubt and that self-doubt and just the monkey in the back of your brain telling you that it's never going to be good enough. But, what I've learned is that there will always be someone out in that world, even if it's one person, that your story will become their favorite story.
It is true.
And by the way, this is an instructive moment for a lot of people. Rather than you letting your monkey brain get in charge and say, oh, no, you can't do that. Or the people around you that say, when you say, I want to write a book, and they say, no, you can't write a book. What's the matter with you? You're too busy. You've got 5 kids. You've got a full-time job. When are you going to have time to do that? And then to persevere and to do it anyway. So if you feel called to do something, don't listen to your monkey brain or the other people who are acting like a monkey brain. Do it because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Do you agree with that, Tyler?
Absolutely. And it's hard, I had my children young, and I didn't come from the best circumstances. I came from a place where I had everything stacked against me and every reason in the world why I shouldn't make it. Every single problem that could ever be faced, I had in my life. And it comes down to just continuing to try. As hard as things get, just putting in that effort, eventually something will give, even if it doesn't feel like it's going to.
Yeah. And a lot of times, do you agree that it's the thing that you thought would be the hardest thing that to give that usually goes first, and everything kind of trails behind that?
Yes. So like since I had my children young, I ended up getting my GED and I didn't finish high school. So um I spent a lot of years kind of just working job to job, trying to dig myself out of the hole that I was in. And I was, I think, 28, 29 years old when I suddenly decided, I'm going to go to college. And, here I am, 33. I just finished at the end of last year. I graduated in March, I believe. No, I graduated in December and I had my graduation ceremony in March. So my sister and we are first generation college graduates for our family. So coming from the circumstances that we did and pursuing all of this, even though I achieved these things later in life, as hard as it was for all of those years, what kept me going was proving to my kids that it's never too late. That just because you didn't do something right out of high school or right in the order that you were supposed to do it doesn't mean you will never do it.
Yeah.
Kids, I gotta tell you, I look at it from a different viewpoint because it's all perception, I suppose. But when you say I didn't accomplish things until later in life, it's like, aren't you like 33 years old? You're barely out of diapers. What the hell are you talking about? You've accomplished a great deal, just like Michelle. She's 26, about to be 27, and she's falling apart. But other than that, she's doing great. But your life is a continuum of great things, and as you continue to go through that, you'll discover that you ain't anywhere near done. And congratulations on breaking the generational trauma of not getting a college education for your entire family. Now they can look up at you and say, she did it, and she had to come, and she came from getting a GED and then going back to college and getting your degree. So congratulations. Do you recognize how big of a deal that is?
I do. I did it while working full time. And when I was working in the warehouse, I was working 12-hour shifts and picking up overtime. And it was really hard physical manual labor. And it was physically demanding. It was mentally draining. And doing that and raising 5 children and just going through everything life throws at you all at once. And as much as it sucked at times and I really wanted to give up so many times, I just kept going. And it ended up resulting in quite a bit of burnout for a bit. I did push myself very far. I'm not going to say that it was all sunshine and rainbows. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. It was hard and I burned myself out big time. I paid the price for it. But
Yeah.
It's what worked for me. It may not be what works for everyone. They may choose a different path. But that's the path I chose, and that's how I ended up where I am. So all in all, I can't say that I regret any of it.
Yeah. Well, since you got so much achievement from that hard work and dedication you put in for yourself and the future of your kids, wasn't it so much more impactful to look back on when you achieved that and it was more meaningful to you and it created a form of, um, we talk about grace and thankfulness of all things. And didn't it just like put that into perspective a little bit different and make you want to work even harder?
At times, and then there's other times where the self-doubt comes in again and you're thinking, well, I could be using this time to spend with them instead of um, pursuing this, because tomorrow is not promised and who knows what's going to happen. But your brain can rationalize anything and it can tell you to do anything.
Yep.
And I knew if I didn't do it then, I probably wouldn't finish, and I would end up regretting that for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, it's good.
Well, and the other thing is, I'm sure if your kids are anything like mine, my kids that are now smelly middle-aged men, by the way, were not really very interested in the things that I was doing and stuff, but they appreciate it now. And I'm sure your kids are saying, mom did some really cool stuff because she went back to school at 29 and she raised all of us. And I don't know how you did that. And Berna, how many hours of sleep did you get a night?
Not many. I will say my saving grace for a lot of it was my partner. He stopped working during the time that I was in college so that more focus could be put by one of us on the kids. Since I was so busy, I would get out of work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't fall asleep until about 9 because we'd have to get the kids up, or I would try to fall asleep and couldn't because I had to wind down, and I would sleep until about 2 p.m. And then I would wake up and I would do classwork, um, because I was an online student until about 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Then I would get ready and go back to work at 6 p.m.
And work 6 to 6 on the graveyard shift.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be
That's
fun,
super
Rochelle?
human.
I,
I felt like I was bionic at times.
I bet. I bet. But that example that you set for everybody around you also, that bleeds into other people's life. Like you said, there's probably been so many people you're not even aware of that have heard your journey and seen your growth and everything that you have given as a mother, as an individual, for yourself, for somebody in the workplace. And it probably shifted their mentality. Did you have somebody that came to you at one point and was like, hey, I see more in you and I want to help you achieve that? Or did you just start nitty gritty right down at the very bottom and work your way up all by yourself?
A little of both. Um, I had this one supervisor that kind of mentored me and very much took me under his wing. He
Yeah.
saw that I had that drive in me and wanted to, because I was planning on being a supervisor there. I was planning on being a lifer in that place. And he pushed me and pushed me and pushed me, and he would challenge me. Eventually, he ended up parting ways from that place. So I was left to take the lessons that he had taught me and put them into action on my own, which I did for a
Wonderful.
long time, until circumstances came about that I chose to leave that place. And now I work in independent living.
And what made you make that decision?
So a couple of factors. I knew I needed somewhere, um, like my health had been taking a downturn. I needed something less physically demanding. I needed something closer to home with better hours. So
Mhm.
when I was looking and I was searching for jobs, I came across mine on Indeed. And I had heard of it and knew about them from before, but I wasn't really sure exactly what they did. So I started looking into them. And I realized, one of the things that I've always wanted to do in life is be of service to others and to help somebody that is maybe downtrodden, or like the broken people, um the down on their luck people, the cast out by society people, anyone who is typically pushed to the back is who I've wanted to help, because I've been there and because
Yeah.
that's been me. And so to find a position that is a 2-minute walk from my house, um,
Yeah.
and helps people in that way, and is not physically demanding like that, that ended up being a great choice for me. And I'm very happy with it now. I've made good connections with the people that I work with, and we're a small team. We are small, but we are mighty.
I believe it. There's purpose. That's why.
Oh, yes.
Well, and did you ever stop to think that maybe because of all the work that you've done and stuff, that things, I'm a firm believer that if you follow your heart and you never quit and you continue to work hard, great things are going to happen for you. And if one of your goals was to work closer to home, well, a 2-minute walk ain't bad, I got to tell you. So congratulations on that.
Absolutely. I don't regret the change at all. Like, there's aspects I miss about logistics. I do now miss some of the physicality, and just like, I miss the people that I work with. That was the biggest connection. The people that I worked with, they were like, it was a very blue collar job, a very industry job, and the people that you work there are some of the most genuine souls you'll ever meet.
I believe it.
And they are. And by the way, we are. Who are we talking to, Brichelle?
Tyler Jenkins. Go check out her book on Amazon, Empty Hours, a short story collection. And when we come back, Tyler, I really want to ask you how important it is that you find and create purpose in everything you do to keep you moving forward. So, Kevin, I'll let you take us out.
I'll take us out right now. We'll be back in just 26 seconds. Not every song changes you, but the right ones do. At Greatest Vibes Unplugged, we share music that hits deeper, no filters, no noise, just pure sound with soul. This is your reminder that light still exists, and sometimes it sings. And remember, you can look up in the sky and see the stars, but still not see the light. Welcome back to Positive Talk with Brichelle, and my name is Kevin, and I'm just here. But Brichelle is the star of the show, and it's great to have Tyler Jenkins with us. She is an author. She's got a short group of short stories out, and that is called Empty Hours. And Brichelle, I asked Tyler, and I'll ask you, what was your favorite horror / suspense story in a movie?
In the book? Oh, in a movie.
In a movie.
I don't have favorites of things, so I'm probably the worst to ask that about, but I'm a horrible movie watcher too. It doesn't matter if it's a kid's show, if it's something animation, if it's something based on a true story. I've got my neck forward, I'm hunched over, I am fully engaged because every story has meaning and you get to decide what purpose it has. So it's kind of exciting, Kevin, right? Because it's free.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And she's got the collection of short stories. One's about a nun. So, Tyler, you've got 5 kids. When were you a nun? I'm just kidding. What do you know about being a nun?
Yeah.
Only what I've read in books and watched in movies. I know my stepdaughter and I, we love The Sound of Music, so that features nuns pretty heavily. I'm a big fan of Call the Midwife, which is a show on Netflix about nurses and midwives in the 1960s in London, that are they live in a convent, and they're going around in this very poor area taking care of these mothers and these babies.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that the sound of music is over 60 years old?
hmm
Yeah.
That is mind blowing. I grew up watching that. My grandmother has a collection of a lot of old musicals. She was a big fan of Rodgers and Hammerstein. She's got The Sound of Music. She's got Fiddler on the Roof, Oklahoma, Cinderella.
Yeah.
I got to even be in Fiddler on the Roof. Have you ever watched that show?
Ish.
Oh, oh sorry. I've seen the
No,
movie
you're
many
good. Go
times.
ahead.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
never had
Or I
the
think
pleasure of
for me
seeing
it
it on stage.
was it MASH? I believe that one. Nobody my age knows what MASH is anymore, but it was huge to me when I was little.
My grandfather loved MASH.
Oh, and guess what? She was here, and now she's gone. She's like a vision. She was here, and now she's gone again. So I don't know what's going on, but in any event, Tyler, it's great to talk to you, and also your story, because you are still a very young person, and you've got incredible things ahead of you. When you think about your future and what it holds for you, and I'd like you to fantasize just a little bit. What would you like it to be?
Ideally, I would like to live somewhere warm, not in central New York. Um,
Hi. Well,
and I would love to be able to have 15 books out. Everyone wants to be an author. Not so many people want to be a writer, and that's where the difference comes in. Uh, Everyone wants the finished product, but they don't want the work. I very much want the finished product. We're
well,
willing to do the work.
Well, that's really cool, because it's important to, and it's part of the process, isn't it? Is the doing the work and watching it come together. Is that exciting for you to watch your idea that was in your head? And sometimes, authors don't even know where the idea comes from, and then it just comes to fruition. That is a really cool process that a lot of people use or have.
For sure. Even when I was formatting Empty Hours, oh, she's back.
I'm
I
finding the
know.
Wi-Fi, but it can't win. Gosh.
But when I was formatting Empty Hours, like I was very much trying to hit a specific page count, because when you're formatting it, and you're putting your manuscript into KDP, you can't have spine text on a book that's less than 71 pages. So I was trying desperately to hit that 71 page count, which is actually why I added the sneak peek to my longer book at the end of it, just to kind of shove some extra pages in there. But then when I got my author copy here, I took a look at it and I was like, this isn't 71 pages. So the formatting when it's on a computer is different than what it is in the printed form.
Oh, I had no idea. Did you know any of that, Rochelle?
No, is there like tools or things you can use so that you actually know what it will turn out to be?
Yes and no. There are tools on the Amazon website. When you're self-publishing, your dimensions in your manuscript have to be certain margins on the page, because when they produce the books, they mass cut them. So they have to all be within certain margins, so that the excess paper that's cut off doesn't end up cutting off portions of your words. So there, when you put that in there, there is a preview option, and it'll give you kind of a rendering on the screen of what it's going to look like when it's printed, and it will tell you if there's any errors, and it will reject your upload.
Oh,
That's actually pretty nifty.
Hey,
I'll make sure to keep that in mind, because Kevin's gonna write a book someday.
Oh,
she's gonna
I'm
make
gonna
I
me.
look forward to reading that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Do you have another book in the works that you really want to
She
put
has
out?
two.
Oh, okay. And what are those about?
So, the first one is the one I put the sneak peek of in Empty Hours. Sorry. It's called Until She Breaks, and it's sort of a domestic thriller about, the classic suburban area. But the twist is our main character is a 63-year-old woman. And I think that that's very important because you don't see a lot of main characters, a lot of heroines, a lot of people that come to save the day as being people that are maybe in their golden years or later in life. You see them always in their teens or early 20s, but I think it's
Yeah.
important to show people that are of a older generation that maybe don't get to see themselves in stories that they like to read.
Oh, I love that.
Well,
That's
and
amazing.
Rochelle likes older people. So one of these days when I become an older person, she'll like me then too.
In 20
Someday.
years.
Yeah. Yeah, I got another 20 years until I actually like you.
I
But I
know.
love how you
Well,
put that spin on it, Tyler, because everybody serves their purpose. Everybody's important. And if anything, they've got the most experience and they have the most wisdom.
Absolutely.
So they would tend to be in your own personal life. Did you have somebody older that's kind of always been that figure for you as well?
I'd say there's never really been one particular person. I think I've experienced that in a way from multiple people throughout my life.
Very good.
It's like a person will come in. I very much believe that people are fated to meet for one reason or another. Either they are there to serve as a lesson, or to serve as a guiding point, or to serve as a connection. And it's patterns that I've noticed. There's people that I've come across that have been mentors. There's
Mhm.
definitely people I've come across that have been lessons,
Yeah.
and they're they've been hard ones. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think I could attribute it to one singular person. I think a lot of people I've met in my life have served that role in one way or another.
That's fair.
when you get a little bit more seasoning under your belt, young lady, you'll find that there are people all the time. They come into your life and then they have a specific reason and a purpose, and then they go away, and for whatever reason. And so that's part of the charm of life, because you never know who's going to stay and who's going to go and why they're going to be there and why they're going to leave and all that kind of good stuff. But it makes it, and that's, by the way, that's another book for you to write.
Absolutely.
Every which
But
way.
yeah,
Yeah. Every which way but loose. No, that's already been done. That was, and so anyway. But Tyler, I want to thank you for being here. We've sadly run out of time, but if to get the book, they can go to Amazon, right? And have you thought, by the way, about putting up a website for you?
Ooh.
I have, and I actually did start it. But the problem was every way to do it is hidden behind a paywall, which I currently can't afford. So if people could go ahead and buy my book, maybe I can afford a website.
Perfect.
There we go.
And Rochelle, you get to have the last word from us for us to talk to Tyler. So tell us what you'd like to do next.
Yes, well, Tyler, thank you so much for all of this time. I want you to take the last minute to share any other ways people can find you and all of your personal little stories. If you want to go on Amazon, people, do it. Empty Hours by Tyler Marie Jenkins, a short story collection. Thank you for writing this book. Thank you for continuing to be the person you are and inspire the people that may not have had the most best upbringing, but to be the example of what you can be, not what you're told you can be. Kevin, thank you for a beautiful week. And Tyler, I'll let you end us out with ways to connect to you and a message that you'd like to leave us for with the week.
Thank you both very much. I've enjoyed this thoroughly. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I can be found on Facebook under Tyler Jenkins Author. I can be found on TikTok under TM Jenkins Author. Um, I have I have a Wattpad. I sadly cannot remember what my handle is on there right now. But I'm also on Instagram under Manuscripts of Dread.
Perfect.
And
as
also,
I-
by the way, if you go to the YouTube channel, all of that is listed right there. As if you go to positivetalkradio.net, that'll all be listed right there as well. Tyler, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope
And
you guys have a great
congratulations,
weekend.
everybody. Yes, have a great weekend. We love you.
Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.